What do you got there?
Got the rock award.
Yeah, what's that?
Hi, Tyler. Got the rock award just for getting stuff done today.
All right. And what happened today?
So we won, but they forfeited at halftime. Our opponents just weren't in a place to finish the game just because we were rocking it. So, cheers, girls.
Hi guys, it's been a couple of days since our doctor's appointment. Just thought we'd fill you in from where we're at. We have had a game since then, and the girls gave me this little guy as a honoring, I guess. So this little guy is the Rock Award. And what we do is each game someone gets the Rock Award for just a rock star performance, and it's just like a really team encourager. And as a lineman, me and some of the other girls were literally just joking about, oh, we're linemen, we'll never get it because our work doesn't usually get acknowledged. So when the previous winner announced it for me to win it this week, it's just been such a sweet thing. And honestly, every time I've got ready for training and I've pulled him out of my bag before our next game, where I then hand it on to someone else who I think deserves it, it's just given me a smile on my face. And during this time of the year, it's those little things with the people around you who see you make such a difference. So was really thrilled to get there. Something little but so meaningful from the girls when they see you commit to all the training sessions and get down to games and just give it your best, and to know that other people see that is just really special. And as much as I love December, we are officially in December now, it's a bittersweet time for Chad and I. December is the month that we first started trying to conceive, which is now 12 years ago. So it's officially been 12 years that we have been trying to get our baby. And I just want to acknowledge how hard the holidays can be for so many people for so many different reasons. Obviously, if you're walking through infertility, trust me, I feel your pain. And that's not the only reason. There's people who maybe are not going through infertility but have suffered loss, especially around this time of year, or maybe it's the first year without a loved one around. Maybe you're just dealing with loneliness, which is really hard around the holidays. Just know that I seriously love and I'm praying for you guys, because as much as I love the holidays and all the fun things and the traditions that you create, it can be a time that's really quite depressing and can be very sad and lonely. So I'm lifting you guys up in prayer, and I hope you do the same for us. For the most part, I feel like we're doing really well. So at our doctor's appointment, we were told we're gonna do 6 weeks of trying to get some supplements into us before our next round, which should be the prime time for both of the supplements for both Chad and I. So the doctor put me on melatonin, just 2 milligrams. Now, I had lived in the States for 9 years, and melatonin was really easy to get over the counter, all sorts of different milligrams, liquids, whatever. It was really easy. Now in Australia, I had to get a prescription for it, even though you can get melatonin over the counter, but this particular grammage, which was just 2 milligrams, I couldn't get. So that was kind of interesting, and it's not supposed to be for sleep. This is my understanding, so please take it with a grain of salt. But as far as I understand, what our doctor said is that the melatonin is supposed to help the egg health, to do with once it's fertilized, keeping the cells together and to help stop them from fracturing, which is what they did for us this last round, which meant after a whole stimulation, harvest cycle, implantation of the semen into the eggs to create our embryos. At day 4-ish, our embryos started to fracture. So we're really trying to get our health as best as we can so that we don't go through that again. Anyway, with all that being said, we got the prescription for melatonin, and very quickly did I realize it was making me very sick. After day 1 and waking up in the middle of the night and having to be in the bathroom for over an hour, there was no like ingredients on the outside of the package. I actually had to go in and search through the whole double-sided huge page of information on the drug to find any other than active ingredients, and it had lactose in it. So the only thing I can think of is that it was lactose that made me sick. So I was kind of like umming and ahhing, because earlier the previous day, the day that I started taking the melatonin, we had gone out to lunch, and I was like, oh, it may have been a cross-contamination gluten reaction, which tends to be delayed for me rather than instantly if it's a full-on gluten reaction. So I thought, oh, I'll give it a day 2. So I gave it a day 2, and it was just as bad, if not worse. And then day 3, I'm like, something needs to change, but I don't have anything else. So I took it a 3rd day and yet was sick again. So it was definitely the new melatonin mix of drugs making me sick. So I called the doctor that next day, couldn't get through to the doctor, left a message with the nurses. They are supposed to be getting back to me today for their solution, but pretty much I explained what was happening, and I did try to get some regular melatonin over the counter, maybe at a higher or a lower dose, and could just adjust it, but that also all had lactose in it. So I was on the way to the acupuncturist while I was talking to the nurse, and she pretty much said, you need to stop taking it. If it's making you sick, we'll get back to you in a couple of days with what to do next. Now, in my mind, I'm like, the doc said I have to be on this for 6 weeks, which will be right at retrieval time in January. So I have to keep taking it. So I'm kind of thinking in my mind, okay, can I take some like lactose digestive pills with it, just to take my melatonin in the evening? But then that would put me over like 8 pills a day. Didn't really want to do that. And so I was just kind of back and forwarding, like, what am I going to do with it? Anyway, so I went into the acupuncturist and kind of let him know what was going on, because I feel like my cycle's due to start soon. That's not happening yet though, and needed to tell him about my stomach because it was really bloated, having a lot of issues because of the lactose. And he's like, I'm pretty sure that we have melatonin with the grammage on it and ingredients and stuff. Let me go have a look. So he had a look, and he didn't have 2 milligrams, he had 3 milligrams, but they were completely vegetarian, gluten-free capsules that are over the counter, but they're ordered from America. Of course they were. So he had them, and they were like half the price of the prescribed stuff, and it had all the ingredients there. I recognize and trust this particular brand that it was. So even though the dose is a little bit higher, I didn't want to stop taking melatonin, and this one has not made me feel sick. So I've now been on that for a couple of nights, and I've resolved the problem with me feeling sick to do with the lactose in the melatonin. So still waiting to hear back from the nurses today to see if they can do that, and if they're happy for me to just stay on the 3 milligrams. I guess the only other option is to go to a proper pharmacist and they make their own compound. The problem is that is really expensive to do that, and it's all for melatonin just not to have lactose in it. So it seems kind of silly, especially since the capsules I am taking now don't have it in it. Anyway, my acupuncturist said that they could order it in for me. It would just take a week to get like 1 milligram capsules, and I could just take 2 of them. So anyway, I've got a couple of options over the next couple of weeks, waiting to hear back from the doctor to see what he thinks, and I will let you know about that. I think that's kind of all that's really been going on, just been trying to keep festive. We have lots of Christmas parties and get-togethers coming up. Our calendar has very quickly filled up. I guess the one other thing that's been going on, because we knew that we are now postponed out till next month, I started ringing around, and my resume only needed tweaking, so I updated my resume and sent it out to a bunch of childcare centres in the area. I am a qualified childcare worker, as well as my background is in children's ministry, either as a director or acting pastor. So I've put my resume out there, and just to do on-call work. That way, if we need to keep bringing in some money, especially around the holidays, we're going to Bali in February. This is a time we could actually use a little bit extra cash. Doesn't everyone? So yeah, hoping just to pick up maybe a couple of shifts a week. And quite often I've done on-call childcare a couple of different times. One was right before I moved to America, because I thought I was leaving, and then all of a sudden the visa didn't go through as quickly as we thought it was. So I had 3 to 6 months, I think it might have been closer to 6 months, where I was actually on call, or actually that's what happened. I was on call for 3 months, and then they hired me knowing that I could be leaving at any moment as an assistant director, and I ended up doing that for the extra 3 months. So I've done that before, and when I very first moved here, I did do on-call childcare, and that's worked out really well for me. Usually what happens is someone goes on leave, they'll book me for a whole week, so then I know regular shifts, where I'm going, then I can accept or decline other work. The other pro about this is that if I go into IVF at the beginning of next year, I can let them know, hey, I'm available from 11 o'clock onwards, or I can't do this day because I've got tests and ultrasounds and blood work and all that, because that happens every other day. But then I can find work on the days that work for me, or the timelines that work for me, rather than trying to get a job and then having them to adjust every time I need to do an appointment. So this way I'm just praying that it works out. We can continue to get a little bit of money. I love doing childcare, even though I don't think that's what I will be going back into full time. But it's fairly easy. It's a job where I can do it, I enjoy it, and then I can walk away, go home, and not stress about it. So hopefully it's the perfect combination of enough work to get us through, especially this time of year, where it's not super stressful, because that's the whole reason I stopped working in the first place. So yeah, I'll get you up to date with any more details that happens throughout the rest of the week. I'll let you know what my doctor says about the melatonin. And we are really hoping, we as in myself doing it, but support of Chad, of course, is getting a blog up and running. I've got the outline of it done, but I'd really love to hear what you guys want from the blog. My hope is to get obviously some of our infertility journey in there, as well as some devotional content. Would love to know if you're interested about things like recipes or crafts, or information about football, anything like that you're interested in maybe following along with, or stuff you'd like information from us about, anything that you want us to write, please leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And yeah, I want this blog to be for you guys as well as for us. So love you all, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, I'm in a craft store, and I still get like sticker shock after moving from the US. So I'm here, and I wanted to do something special for each of my girls at football, and I don't know, decorate something for each of them. And this is just an example, but a plain frame, wood bolster frame like this. In the US, I would get them for $1 each, and here they're $5.99. So I guess I'm gonna have to come up with a different idea, but I'll keep you informed. You might remember a couple of weeks ago I rescued these wicker chairs. I think they came up pretty good, and it also just helps complete the look for Christmas.
So I got my Christmas cards done, which is really great to get that out of the way. I'm so used to having Costco around though and doing my printed 50 to 100 Christmas cards for like, you know, $15, so, or 25 for 100 or whatever. So not being able to find that in Australia. So what I did is I downloaded and made some Canva designs of my own. Canva is just an online, really basic, do your own graphics kind of program. And so I was able to make that, and then I just printed them on photo card. So instead of being like $1.50, $2 each to make them, and I wanted like 75, I printed them on 10-cent photo stuff. And so for $7.50, I got 75 cards done. They are in the post and ready to be handed out. Merry Christmas. Thought I'd just do a quick check-in and let you know what's been happening before I wrap up the end of this vlog. So I have not heard back from the doctors about the melatonin. So I have been continuing to take the supplement I found at my acupuncturist, and that's been fine. I don't think being 3 milligrams over 1 milligrams is really going to be a big deal. And obviously the doctor hasn't called me back, and it's 3 days later, and it's now into the weekend than they said they would. So anyway, I've just been continuing on with that. I've been feeling fine. I decided to not do my original craft project I was going to do with my girls from football, but I did decide to do some baking, and so we've got our get together wrap up happening next weekend. So I bought some, as you can see, I went grocery shopping, bought some goodies and ready to do some baking next week for that. And yeah, really just trying to get ready for the holiday season. So guys, know that I love you, I am praying for you, and I really look forward to doing the holidays alongside with you. Till next week, I'll see you later. Bye.